That's better, isn't it, Sid? Sid? Hmm? Yeah, no, I don't think it's working, is it? Are the carrots working for you? No, I think... Oh, they're supposed to be cucumbers, not carrots. Oh, seriously. Oh, hello. You've just caught me and Sid. That's better. You just caught me and Sid relaxing. We were just trying to relax and spend a bit of quiet time with God. That actually reminds me. Do you remember Moses actually went and spent time with God up on the mountain? Have you not heard of the story yet? Ah, Sid. An opportunity for us to tell another story. Well, sit back, relax, and get ready as we dive in. Do you remember last week God gave Moses the 10 instructions, or 10 commandments? Well, after Moses told all the people the instructions that God had given them, he went back up the mountain to hear more instructions from the Lord. And while Moses listened, the Lord wrote the 10 commandments on tablets of stone. Moses was away from the people for a good few weeks, and soon they started to wonder where he was. They knew Moses had gone up on the mountain to talk to God, but why had he been gone so long? Maybe he would never come back down. The Israelites were afraid that if Moses didn't come back, that they wouldn't have a leader to lead them to the promised land. Rather than remember what they knew about God to give them hope, the Israelites thought to themselves, what would the Egyptians do? Well, the Egyptians had hundreds of statues of creatures that they worshipped like gods, and so the Israelites asked Aaron to make them a god. Aaron believed in the Lord, but he thought that he could change God's instructions by himself. So, Aaron told the people to bring their gold earrings to him, and Aaron made a gold idol in the shape of a calf, which is a baby cow. This was one of the kinds of idols that they remembered from Egypt. Then Aaron built an altar, and he said, "Tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord." Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but Aaron and people were disobeying God and not doing as he had instructed. The second commandment from God said that they should not make any idols. Even though the Israelites said, "We're worshipping God," they were not doing it the way that God had asked them to. They were trying to worship God the way they wanted to. It didn't matter to them what God wanted. Even though the Lord was speaking to Moses way up on the mountain, the Lord knew exactly what the people were doing down below, and the Lord was very angry, and he told Moses that he wanted to destroy the people. "Oh Lord, please forgive your people," begged Moses. Finally, God said that he wouldn't destroy them, and he told Moses to go back down the mountain to the people. When Moses arrived in the camp, he found the people partying around the idol. And Moses was so angry that he threw down the stone tablets with God's instructions on them, and he broke them. He was very disappointed in the people. He was the leader, and he knew that they must be punished. So he smashed up the golden calf, and he ground it up into powder, and he put the powder into the drinking water, and then he made the people drink it. Moses told Aaron that he was very wrong for disobeying God. And even then, many of the people still chose to continue their wild party instead of listening to the words of the Lord. There was nothing that would stop them. So Moses gathered men with swords, and about 3,000 people were put to death that day. Many of the people were very sorry. They knew that they had not obeyed God. They had tried to do things their own way instead of doing it God's way. After this, those who had disobeyed were punished by God, and they got very sick with a plague. Obeying God is very important. And as time passed, God called Moses back up to the mountain again, and he wrote on more tablets of stone, and he told Moses that he would keep his promise with his people. This type of promise was called a covenant. God said to Moses, "Remind the people not to worship any idols, and when they worship me, make sure they do it the way I have instructed them to. And if you see any idols on your way to the promised land, I want you to destroy them as well." When Moses came down from the mountain, this time something was different. Because Moses had stood in the presence of God, his face actually glowed. In fact, every time he spent time in God's presence after this, his face glowed again. At these times, he had to wear a veil over his face. Well, thank you for listening again. Let me know if you spend time with God and your face starts glowing, because that would be an amazing thing to see. In the meantime, I'm off to the shops to go buy some cucumbers. You coming, Sid?